G'day everyone, this is Jackson Milan, the Wealth Mentor, co-founder and CEO of Aureus Financial.
Sam Panetta, COO and co-founder of Aureus Financial.
And welcome to our first Ask Aureus Anything question and answer live event.
Alright, so I'm young and living in Sydney. Will I ever be able to afford a home?
Avocados on toast or eating avocado on toast?
You got to stop eating avocado on toast. No, I'm joking. Alright, so look, it's a yes and no question. This comes down to the individual, you know. Some people will own a home in Sydney. Some people won't own a home in Sydney. I don't agree with the person saying that they're young and will they ever be able to afford a home in Sydney. I know plenty of people who are from last generation and the generation before that have never managed to own a home in Sydney. So I don't think it's a generational thing. Look, I think if someone really wants to, they will. Can you buy the same house that your parents have? They live in a $2.5 million home. Probably not, mate. Probably start a little bit smaller, buy a 1-bedroom unit, buy a 2-bedroom unit with your partner when you get married. I've done countless amounts of first home buyers, so yes, it can be done. I bought my first property when I was 18, and I had to bust my chops to do it. I worked more overtime than I care to remember, and I barely saw my friends, barely saw my family, but I did do it. And I've seen other people who have managed to do it themselves as well. Look, there's other ways of getting around it. You know, we see a lot of people that they sort of get a little bit of a hand up. Maybe they get a little bit of a gift.
A family guarantee.
Or a family guarantee. That's the big thing. That's what I was going to go into next. Everyone's sort of heard of it. It's sort of when your parents own property and they guarantee your deposit so you can go out and buy a property. I won't go too deep into it now. Shoot me through an email or something like that if you want to have a chat about it. It essentially means that, let's say that you want to buy a $800,000 property. Instead of having to come up with a circa $200,000 deposit for 20% plus stamp duty, your parents can guarantee that, first 200 grand, you borrow the other 600,000 and you get yourself into the property that way. That way you stop paying rent, you get yourself into the property market. But the caveat to that is you need someone in your family who owns a home and who is willing to guarantee you. So that's not everybody's that lucky. The other thing that we see a lot of people are doing are buying an investment property before they're buying their home. So let's say you're renting where you want to live, or you're living at home with your parents, or you're living in a flat somewhere and you're paying cheap rent. And instead of, you've saved some money, right? Let's say you've saved somewhere between 50 and 100 grand and you want to buy a property, but that's sort of not enough to get you into a $1 million unit somewhere on the Northern Beaches. So you start to look interstate, right? We've had a lot of clients who have bought in regional New South Wales, or they've gone into state cities, Adelaide, Brisbane. There's plenty of them out there. If you're going to do that, get some professional advice on the property. So don't wing it. Don't get spruiked into some crappy property by someone in a shiny suit. Do your research, engage someone that you really trust, and continue renting where you want to live. But you still need to get your money working for you. So that's some of the things that we see other people doing.
Yeah, it's a good observation, mate. I think the property market in Australia is cyclical. It goes through periods of growth and then through periods of stagnation, and not every city goes at the same time. But we find that particularly when Sydney and Melbourne have gone through this growth cycle, the spruikers come out of the woodworks and prey on the naive. And the people that are really caught up in that kind of fear of missing out. And we've seen a lot of clients make really poor decisions because they've been spooked by these property developers that have just sold them rubbish. It's important that when you get advice objectively. Work out whoever's advising you, where they're getting paid from. If a so-called property advisor is getting paid a commission from a developer, then they're not working for you, they're working for the developer. So you need to be mindful of that. And it's also important, bide your time. Like it's a saying that I say a lot is people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10. This is not a race, this is a marathon. You don't need to buy a property every single year for the next 30 years. If you buy a property every 5 years or every 10 years, you're doing fantastic. Compounding will work its magic. The hardest part of getting into the property market is that first step onto the ladder. And the worst thing you can do after putting in all that hard work to either save the money for yourself or convince your family that they should back you in a family guarantee is to go and buy a crappy property in an area where your tenants are going to trash the place, it's going to be vacant for 6 months of the year, hasn't had growth since the 1700s, and it's the tin roof is rusting off, and you can go on and go on. Property is about buying quality over quantity. So make sure you get the right advice.
Yeah, look, long-winded answer. You're young, you live in Sydney, can you afford a property? Look, it's possible, but you have to do it. You have to do it.